Salofalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up, PNG and Bougainville hold more talks on independence issue. Also,
it's a matter of concern because as the head of government, one would expect him to be consistent.
Fiji Prime Minister backpedals on a decision, and
a lot of proudness to be here and looking forward to the game against Tahiti on Friday.
The pitch is set for the FIFA Oceania qualifiers. The United Nations Special Representative for Disaster Risk Reduction, Kamal Kishore, has just wrapped up his visit to the Pacific with stops to Fiji, Kiribati, Samoa and Vanuatu. Mr. Kishore met with government officials and other stakeholders in each country, assessing their disaster risk management. I spoke with Mr. Kishore and began by asking him the challenges he identified on his Pacific tour.
Now, three principal challenges are that, many of these countries have small populations dispersed across many islands. So it's very difficult to achieve economies of scale. For example, in Kiribati, you would have one island which is only 500 people and it's remote from the capital. But if whether we have to set up systems for early warning for 500 people or 5,000 people or 10,000 people, it's the same kind of investment that is required. So I think dispersed population, a lack of economies of scale is a big challenge. The second challenge is that many of these countries have issues with regards to availability of the right kinds of materials, the right kinds of capabilities for building disaster and climate resilient infrastructure. So they really have to come together to address some of these challenges. And the third challenge is the challenge that a lot of the times the absorptive capacity, to sort of actually make the most of whatever assistance is provided is a bit limited. So it is really important that whatever solutions are applied here, they are tailored to their specific context. They are paced properly. It's not too much too quickly or too little too late. I think it really is something where we have to work with the governments as well as communities in these regions to co-create solutions. If you bring solutions from outside and supplant them there, that doesn't work. There is a lot of accumulated wisdom and expertise in this region, which has to be the starting point.
I know that you were in Vanuatu recently, and what do you make of their post-quake recovery so far?
So I think there are several aspects to it. The first, I will say three main things. One is that I think government has taken a very systematic approach, and they have tried to ensure that while there are big damages from the earthquake, there are no further losses. So it's a very cautious approach where all the buildings have had a preliminary assessment of not just the damage, but the minorly damaged buildings. How are they? Whether they are safe for occupation or not.
What assistance can the UNDRR provide to the region, especially in a time when big countries are pulling back on development aid?
We really, in terms of material assistance, we really have to look at it from a multi-year perspective and also see how we can do a better job of planning so that the inputs from various sources converge to have the maximum impact at the local level. It is about reconstructing, but it is also about revitalizing the local economy. So whatever imagination we can bring to it, that would be, very helpful in my view.
I mean, it would be tricky to try to merge with other sources when countries such as US are putting a pause on their aid. So what's the UNDRR's position on that?
Well, I think whether it is US or any other place, if there is lack of funding, it obviously presents us with challenges. It's not, but what I'm trying to say is that it's not always about resources. Money is never enough. We just have to also see how we sequence it properly, how we converge the regular development assistance as well, and see how we can, bring it all together to support disaster risk reduction efforts.
All right. So while in Fiji, did you meet with the Pacific Islands Forum Secretary General? And if so, what did you discuss?
So I did not meet the Secretary General of Pacific Island Forum. He unfortunately had to travel during that time, but I did meet other officials, including one of the Deputy Secretary Generals there and the Acting Secretary General, and we looked at how we can work with Pacific Island Forum, Secretariat of the Pacific Community, and come together to work on disaster resilience issues. You see, when we work with the island nations at a regional level, we can sort of bring about greater integration in kinds of demands or for input, for support, for technical support, and achieve some sort of economies of scale and some, horizontal exchange between countries. So, in fact, we signed an MOU with them, with PIF as well as SPC, to work together on disaster risk reduction issues in the coming years.
The parties to talks aimed at resolving an impasse over Bougainville's push for independence are planning to meet several more times before a deadline in June. The leaders of Papua New Guinea and Bougainville have been meeting all week in Port Moresby, with former New Zealand Governor-General Sir Jerry Mataparai serving as moderator. Don Wiseman has more.
The question before the two governments hinges on the conditions for tabling in Parliament the results from the Bougainville referendum of 2019, in which there was overwhelming support for independence. PNG wants an absolute majority of MPs to agree to the tabling, while Bougainville says it should be a simple majority. Bougainville says changes to the constitution would come later, and that's when an absolute majority is appropriate. The Bougainville President, Ismail Toroama's, also suggested a solution could be reached outside of Parliament. Mr Toroama's words are recorded.
Bougainville's agenda is independence, and in our post-referendum consultations we have made this clear, resulting in joint agreements such as the Wabag Roadmap and the Erakone Covenant. Therefore, it is my expectation that the moderation process will have to address the Bougainville independence issue.
But the Papua New Guinea Prime Minister, James Marape, says it's a constitutional matter that requires Parliament's deliberation and decision-making. He highlighted Section 342 of the PNG Constitution explicitly calling for post-referendum consultations, ensuring that both parties engage in a structured dialogue before a final decision is made. Mr Toroama says as far as he's concerned, negotiations over independence ended once the referendum results were in.
The Bougainville Peace Agreement is a political settlement that has three pillars: weapons disposal, autonomy and referendum. Out of the three pillars, the referendum pillar was the key pillar that held the commitment of all Bougainvilleans to the peace process, by guaranteeing in the national constitution a choice of separate independence for Bougainville.
Mr Marape has also questioned the readiness of Bougainville to run itself, given there are still guns in the community and the local economy is minuscule. Mr Marape's words are recorded.
The long-term sustainability of Bougainville must be factored into these discussions, he added. Today, as we speak, Bougainville generates only 5% of its own budget. This is a serious conversation that we must address as part of the broader negotiations.
He also has very real concerns that other provinces are also eyeing autonomy.
My duty as Prime Minister is not only to Bougainville, but to the whole of Papua New Guinea. We must ensure that any decision we take is in the best interest of all parties.
Sources at the Port Moresby talks say with the parties having now stated their positions, several more meetings are planned where decisions will be reached on the way forward. One of these meetings is expected to happen at Burnham in New Zealand. It was preliminary talks at Burnham in 1997 that led to an end of the bloody 10-year-long civil war in Bougainville. Bougainville is holding elections in September, and the writs are being issued in June, hence the desire that the process to determine the political future is in place by then.
Fiji's Labour leader hopes the Prime Minister sticks to his latest decision to keep Lynda Tabuya on the backbench. Sitiveni Rambuka did a U-turn this week and decided not to restore the former Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection to Cabinet. The Prime Minister told the Fiji Times that it would be inappropriate to give her a ministerial portfolio in the circumstances. Less than 2 weeks ago, he told the Fiji Sun that Tabuya would make an ideal Minister for Information after she presented a mataninga sau, or traditional apology to the government. Mahinda Chowdhury, a former Prime Minister, told Margot Staunton the about-face was a surprise.
Well, I don't know what's happening between the two of them. I have absolutely no idea why he's done this. He was keen about getting her back, and we were all surprised when he announced that it was not on now. But Mr. Rambuka is known for that. I mean, they say he says one thing one day, and the very next day he could change it. And this is what's kind of worrying, that a Prime Minister makes statements and changes them frequently, and not once in a while.
Why do you think it happens? Do you think he's under pressure to change his mind often?
Well, I don't know whether it's actually age of forgetfulness or he just lives by the day, each day, and makes decisions based on that. It's a matter of concern because as the head of government, one would expect him to be consistent. He lacks consistency, and he's done this many times on important issues. So many people are questioning his ability to run the government responsibly in such a situation when he keeps changing his mind without giving reasons for it.
Do you suspect that he's changed his mind this time because he's been pressurised? Because obviously the idea to reinstate Tabuya to Cabinet probably wasn't popular.
I wouldn't know. I don't have any idea what made him change his mind. I think it's surprised many people that he's done that, because he's always been backing her, trying somehow to get her back into the cabinet. But this time around, that's not happened, and he's brushed her aside.
I guess you and the Labour Party, though, would be happy about that.
Well, it's not a question of the Labour Party. I think the country as a whole would probably breathe a sigh of relief.
Why is that?
And I hope he sticks to it.
Can you explain why the Labour Party is happy about this decision?
We've stated our reasons why we think that she's not fit to be a minister, particularly Minister for Women and Children. We've even gone as far as to say that she shouldn't be in Parliament either. We stand by that, and happy that Mr. Rambuka has changed his mind about getting her back in the Cabinet. We welcome the decision of the Prime Minister to dismiss her from Cabinet. We also said that she should be referred to the Privileges Committee of Parliament for her membership to be revoked.
Is there anything else you'd like to say on the matter at this point?
No, as I said, I hope it stays this way.
The battle for direct entry to the 2026 FIFA World Cup boils down to just 2 more matches for the Oceania qualifiers. That starts on Friday 21st of March at the Sky Stadium in the capital, where Tahiti will meet New Caledonia, while host New Zealand will square off against Fiji. 2 winners will then advance to the OFC World Cup qualifiers final in Auckland on Monday 24th of March. Elisa Tora caught up with the teams at a press conference held in Wellington on Wednesday.
There is no hiding the fact that there is a lot of excitement in the air as the teams come down to their semi-final matches. New Caledonian player and former Wellington Phoenix rep Joshua Sitiro makes a return to the ground he called home between 2019 and 2022, looking forward to representing his heritage and family against Tahiti.
Yeah, obviously good memories being back here, and obviously I'm very proud to be part of this team. I have heritage. My parents were born there. My great-grandfather played for the New Caledonian national team back in the 60s. So a lot of proudness to be here, and looking forward to the game against Tahiti on Friday.
New Zealand head coach Darren Basley says although they started favourites, they are wary of the Fijians who they meet in the second semi-final.
We're expecting a challenge. I've heard they've got a good coach, got them organised and prepared. So yeah, we've watched quite a lot of their previous games. We know, with the squad that we have, we know we're the favourites for the game, and we know that they're going to come with some strengths and some challenges for us. So we're expecting a good, tough game.
His Fiji counterpart, Rob Sherman, says they have a tough challenge, but he and his players believe they can achieve the impossible if they play their own game.
I've always believed you can win, otherwise there's no point getting on the pitch, and so I still believe that is a factor. Obviously we look at their predominant strengths, and we'll try and mitigate those and utilise our strengths at the right time, and if that comes to fruition, great. If it doesn't, as long as the boys have given everything, then we can ask no more.
Fiji captain Felipe Mbaravilala, who represented Fiji at the 2016 Olympic Games football competition, says they have sacrificed a lot to be here and will do their best.
I know it's a big challenge for me compared to the New Zealand side. They are very experienced and almost all of them are professional players. Compared to us, we are all amateurs. But like I said, through the sacrifice that we have made, we are here. And for me, taking up this challenge, it will be a good one, and I'm proud.
The semi-finals kick off at 3 p.m. on Friday at the Sky Stadium in Wellington with New Caledonia and Tahiti before Fiji battles the All Whites at 7 p.m.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā sui fua.